everybody. I'm Dr. Marianne Pinkston, and welcome to the Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. And as usual, I will bring you Ray Solano from PDLabs up in Cedar Park, Texas, and the Laval Performance Health Center, which I am medical director for very proudly, working with Ray and Jim LaValle. And I know we've got some new news today. You're always doing something out there, Ray. It's never a dull moment, that's for sure. But I know you guys have something new and exciting. So what is this big announcement?
Well, we're always based on research-based centered pharmacy. So what that means is, pharmacies are personalizing medication. Let's roll back the clock 100 years. Each medication is unique to them. And now it's more of an assembly line. Everybody gets the same. And unfortunately, it's not really succeeding. We'll just keep it at that. And so now, there's really a revolution that's occurring in medicine, believe it or not. And it's there's a Nobel Prize that was just awarded this last week on protein sequences and how they can decompose plastic, believe it or not. So we're ending this golden age of, well, how do we control proteins and how we control amino acids? And that's really important for us to figure out how to be able to harness this energy. So one of the things that we've done is some of these chronic conditions and diseases, we're always looking and how to reverse them. And one of the things that you have been working with us very closely with is a lot of these neurodegenerative diseases. And these degenerative diseases are debilitating, Parkinson, ALS, Alzheimer's. You put them all together. And we really haven't made significant improvements in that. So there's some interesting developments here. And believe it or not, using monoclonal antibodies, that can be able to untangle what's going on with these plaques that are causing this disconnect in the brain. And that's what's so exciting. I think we learned a lot, believe it or not, through COVID on how to energize or I guess to really use the dynamics of monoclonal antibodies and how to reverse viruses, how to reverse many of these conditions. So monoclonal antibodies have been around for a long time, not to get into the genetics of it, but it's the way for the body to marshal its antibodies to attack what the body is missing and giving it some direction. And that's what we're talking about. Monoclonal antibody treatments.
Very good. And so, yeah, I do think COVID taught us a lot. Everybody, I think previous to COVID, never really heard of the therapy. And then it was suddenly something that everybody, once they got COVID and high risk, wanted to get. And so, but there's a lot more uses out of it. And we do concentrate a lot on the neurodegenerative diseases because these are the diseases that rob quality of life and also quantity. And really in the past have had absolutely no therapies for. We've been unable to do anything to help resolve. And so now you brought to light to me the Intell DNA, which gives the ability to look at things, look at a patient from a genetic side. And then now you've got some therapies. You've got more than one thing, but I think the true binding, this is the new product that you've got, right? That we're going to promote and do. And I think you're going to probably be fairly exclusive out here doing it.
Well, there's about 70 sites around the country, but unfortunately, a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines. And, you're correct. Intell DX is a groundbreaking, innovative new genetic testing module that really identifies these gene SNPs and these defects, what his deficiencies are, and to be able to plug those holes. And also, we understand the risk factors prior to it actually becoming a debilitating condition. Yeah. So, in partnership with Intell DX and as well as with True Binding, it's doing the monoclonal antibodies and partnering with Metabolic Elite that is coming up with these innovative nutritional therapies that are very easy for the body to be able to absorb. You put this magic, all this together, and I think you can make tremendous advancements when you put all this together. So just a little bit of review. TB006 is the name of the monoclonal antibody treatment that is in phase 2 trials in FDA, and it's an investigational IRB, that's investigational review board, that gathers the data. Right. So in this data, you have to have sites that are qualified and meet the criteria to gather the correct data and to be able to qualify to treat patients. Right. And so the Laval Performance Health Center in Austin or Cedar Park, Texas, has been approved as an IRB center for TB006. So we're excited to be able to be one of a few that will be able to do this, because we're going to do it a little bit differently. Yeah. So to back up for a second, the TB006 actually works on the galactin-3 protein regulating module. Okay, so it's working on the being able to slow down or reverse the galactin-3 proteins that are regulating, that are causing that, this acute inflammation, and also this chronic inflammation that could be occurring. Right. So we do know that in Alzheimer's patient, the galactin-3 markers are 10 times higher than the actual individuals. So you can be able to measure that.
Simple blood test that can be
simple blood test. And we got a DNA swab test. We just got them in yesterday. You can do the DNA test for the galactin-3. Right. So the TB006 is a therapeutic monoclonal antibody that targets the galactin-3 to reduce the toxic neuroinflammation. So it's really pinpointing just the galactin-3 aggregation. So when we get these these tangles, these tau protein tangles, and causing many of the dysfunctionality of cross connectivity of electricity going on through the brain, and it is causing this web that's occurring. And it's not the tangles that are causing a problem. It's actually the cause of the tangles causing being the problem. So this is where we do upstream. I kind of look at it as, right now, when we get into an accident, we look at the bumper and we say the bumper needs to be replaced. Right. But unfortunately, the accident already occurred, and you may want to think about why the accident even occurred in the first place. So, that's kind of the analogy. We're looking up, well, how come the accident occurred in the first place? Right. Novel thought. Yeah, the prevention. And it's realizing that now is that we're aging, and the inflammation is finally associated with Alzheimer's. Right. So we're making huge advancements in just acknowledgement of what the problem is. And unfortunately, when you got billions and billions of dollars going for the fixing the end result of the car crash, it's very difficult to go upstream. So that's what we're talking about. TB006, the name of the pharmaceutical company that's doing this is True Binding. True Binding. You can look them up, and the data is out there. This is the real thing. There's no games being played. This is using conventional medicine qualifications to be able to get a drug on the market.
Absolutely. And as you say, it's a novel idea to start somewhere from the beginning in prevention, or, once people start to show actual signs of memory loss and families are starting to notice, it's beginning to cross over in a, stage that's too late. So we really want to start at the very beginning, family history. You want to build up the immune system and the nutrients and the health of the person, and, to try to avoid. But once people start to notice, it's sliding downhill rather quickly. So when can this be? When's a good time to test? When's a good time to intervene?
Well, I think the most important thing is exactly where do you start,
Right.
and I think what we design at the Laval Performance Health Center is be able to get a comprehensive evaluation
Yeah.
of the people to be able to track what their galactin-3 levels and the other risk factors. There are other inflammatory markers, C-reactive protein, and then hemoglobin A1Cs, the glucose levels, so we can understand the whole picture. Okay. And I think right now we have a very high incidence of approval or success rate for galactin-3, but it's not 100%. But I think the reason why the gap for making it 100% is we have to do some of the cleanup work beforehand.
Right.
And some of the things you can do to reverse some of the fires that are causing it, the smoldering. So I think the first thing is to get the first assessment to see where we are at, and then be able to fine tune get rid of those risk factors. And some of the simple things is it's amazing the amount of processed foods and things that people eat on a daily basis that are adding just kindling wood to this fire that's brewing. So you got to take out that information.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people just don't realize how what you do on a daily, every single day basis makes a huge difference in what your outcomes of your health is going to be. So we start there. And if you are a candidate and we see that your numbers are off the chart, or you have the symptomology, a very simple questionnaire that has some algorithms associated with it, can assess where your risk factors are. We can hit it from multiple activities. So I guess our approach is going to be, as we're getting if somebody does qualify for this, there's some things you can do for hormone replacement therapy, the gut repair, because the polysaccharides that are released out of the gut are causing a lot of this inflammation and hormone dysfunctionality. So we fix all these things first. Then by the time you're getting the IV, because there's a qualification period and there's an ordering basis, then we're starting on a much faster pace of recovery.
Absolutely.
So that's the steps that we do, and we're under your direction as the medical director for the TB006 at the True Binding site. Will definitely get you started, and it's not an inexpensive process, but we think it's well worth it, because the alternatives, believe it or not, are multiply more expensive.
Absolutely. And something that really surprised me when I went to the Intell DX conference and kind of listened to the DNA testing and all of the varieties of information you can get about a person, like you say, personalized medicine. What can I do for this person or for me, and make it effective? One of the things that they mentioned is testing for some of the effects that the Alzheimer's and dementia drugs have on people. That, we have Namenda, Aricept, and, the generic versions of them, that a lot of these medications can actually make people worse. So doctors really are just easy to write a prescription. I'll give you your Namenda or your Aricept, and, mom's forgetting things, and so here's your medication. And all in all, you begin to make somebody worse. And we can actually detect that now and give them an alternative therapy. That surprised me immensely.
Well, if you look at the pharmacology of that drug, so what they're trying to do is cholinesterase inhibitors. They're trying to increase acetylcholine in the brain because of the tangles and the beta amyloid plaques are causing this lower energy level. And one of the big mediators of energy is acetylcholine, and so when you increase the acetylcholine and you try to fix it, what you may be doing is depleting their stores of the that they already have of the acetylcholine.
Right.
Make it better for a short period of time, but if you've got an inflammation, you're maybe causing more of an inflammation,
right,
by adding these. So we I think we'll probably look back 5 years from now and go, I can't believe we used to do this type of
Right? Exactly.
therapy. And that's the way we are investing as much time and effort and money into this because what is the statistic? 1 out of 3 people are going to be affected by one of these chronic neurodegenerative diseases in the next 10 years. So the good news is we got some solutions, but people just need to wake up.
Right.
And realize I don't care how much money you have, I don't care how much success you have, but if you wake up one day and you can't remember who everybody you're around with, then everything gets changed.
Absolutely. So painful to watch families go through this. And the person who's afflicted with it generally doesn't really know that it's happening, but the families and the caretakers suffer greatly. And it's devastating. It can take years for things to change. It just gets worse and worse. So absolutely. Right. And we're going to take a short break in a second. When we come back, I want to talk about things that people can do, to lower their risk, ways that they can, figure out if they are high risk. But talk a little bit about the Laval Performance Health Center, where you're located and how to get in touch with you.
Sure. It's located in Cedar Park, Texas. You can check out our website, Laval, LAVALLE performance.com, lavalperformance.com. Phone number is 512-219-0782. That's 512-219-0782. And we'll have people our team is waiting there. We can get you started to get some inquiry, get some, be able to see what we're all about, what type to see if this is something that's interesting to you. We've got some, we're building a very innovative portfolio of solutions for all these different types of conditions, chronic conditions that unfortunately just falling through the cracks, from long COVID patients to people with chronic conditions that nobody else can be able to treat, chronic fatigue. And we also specialize in mold and Lyme conditions.
Yes.
We have specialists in that area. So I think it's one of the unique centers in the country, LavallePerformance.com. And we've got a unique group of professionals that are very, very skilled in many areas.
Very skilled and very dedicated. And I love being part of it. So you can also go to drpbetterlife.com, find out more information about PDLabs and the Laval Performance Health Center, as well as the previous shows that Ray and I have done now for 3 years. It's amazing. And so absolutely, when we come back, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the alternatives that you have, for prevention that would add into this, because this is it's not just a one supplement, one drug thing. You've got to do the whole picture. So we're going to come back and talk about that. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston, here today with Ray Solano up at PDLabs in the Laval Performance Health Center, talking a little bit about neurodegenerative diseases. So you know those as ALS, as dementia and Alzheimer's. Those are the two biggest ones, and of course there's more. But we spent some time on the monoclonal antibody. That's the big feature, I think, coming up for therapy. But there's so much more. People don't realize that you have to hit this from all sides. It's not just a brain disease. It's a whole person disease. So let's spend a little time on how we can affect people now, and work just simply through your doctor's office to get started on prevention.
And the other exciting thing is that we've got a new classifications of drugs that is being coined in the weight loss sector because that's some of the effects, but that's really more of a side effect of the drug.
Absolutely.
And these GLP inhibitors that work on reducing the blood sugar levels and improves the insulin, or I guess reverses the insulin resistance that people have. Yeah. So unfortunately, the body's metabolic engines are shifting to taking all excessive sugars and converting it into fat, and it works on a central basis as well as stalling some of the gastric emptying. Gives people the full feeling.
Right.
But this insulin resistance that we've coined for years has been so difficult to be able to reverse. Right. If you take you back to the standard of care for reversing diabetes or type 2 diabetes, the only way it worked was almost starving the person on a 600 calorie diet that somehow was able to reverse it to try to stall the body. It always fixes itself one way or the other. It switches engines and fuels when that happens. But if you look at the biggest cause of disease is irregular or improper blood sugar levels that cause so much inflammation. So if you reverse that, all these other chronic conditions seem to fall by the wayside. You got cardiac dysfunctionality, you have high blood pressure, you have all the things that are associated with that, neuropathy and all the conditions from diabetes and type 2 diabetes. So this is why this great classifications of drugs is great to be able to put in a toolbox. And we're excited to be able to come up with a chewable form of one of these tirzepatide working with your office. Yes. So there's no excuses. We have
guys. That's right,
got something for everybody.
All right. So, one of the things I wanted to mention is that the GLP injections and now the oral that you have are being used as a microdosing, meaning we're using low levels and low dosages of these medications to help, or peptides really, to reduce inflammation widespread in the body. So rheumatologists are using it in autoimmune capacity. And if you're not just looking at weight loss, that's what most people think now. Well, I'm using it, either I have diabetes or I just want to lose weight. And that's not actually all the things that these meds do. So they do lower inflammation and they help the brain regulate its own blood sugar. Your brain has its own set of receptors and things that control blood sugar separate from the body, and that's why insulin resistance affects the brain so much, because and why it's so difficult to get medications through to it, that blood-brain barrier. And these GLPs do that and help the brain regulate. So lots of ways to approach inflammation from the GLPs. And then you mentioned another one, low-dose naltrexone.
That's exactly right. Low-dose naltrexone is a great example of a drug. In high doses was used for opioid reversal in high doses. And then when we found out with that same drug, and we did it in low doses, had a completely different therapeutic effect. Yeah. And it has helped thousands and thousands of people for pain, chronic pain conditions, and also these many of these chronic conditions that for inflammation that is going, because by resetting these opioid receptor sites in a low dose. So I really like low dosing etiology for different drugs because they seem to have different effects. Methylene blue is in the same category. Yeah. So we're really excited about tirzepatide, which is in this GLP family that has the ability to we feel it has the ability to be therapeutically effective in an oral medication. Yeah. And so we can really control. The biggest problem is the nausea. And, who wants to be nauseous all the time? Exactly. So this is to be able to really microdose that levels and be able to control the brain, and to many of the eating disorders, to attention deficit disorders. So the brain reactivity changes, and we're just still understanding what is going on centrally. So we're excited about the potential. When working with you and the Laval Performance Health Center, we're going to come up with more and more different delivery methods of this drug. So you don't have to take injections all the time, which is exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And there's so many different things that can be done. And you guys are at the leading edge. I absolutely love it. And so how can people get in touch with us and get their hands on all of this?
The first step is to call our clinic center, Laval, LAVALLE Performance.com, Laval Performance.com. And you can also give us a call at 512-219-0782. We'll have one of our specialists give you a call and walk you through some of the steps to get signed up, to really start to take the first steps to take control of your health. It's a journey. It doesn't happen with one or two steps, but we spend tons of money on investments in our future, what we want to do when we so-called retire. But you know what? I think people need to spend as much money as they can to ensure their health. Yeah. Because guess what? A bit more percentage of people are going to live to 100 than ever. Right. So get ready. What are you going to do the next 20 years?
Yes, absolutely. Love it. And so that is very, very promising and great news, because people are definitely very fearful of, these things that have happened over the last 20 years with the changes in our foods, the genetic modifications and, environmental additions, lots of chemicals and environmental issues that have come out about hormone changes and all. It's slowly killing us earlier and earlier. So we have a chance to change that and overcome it. And I love it. So if people want to get in touch with us, you can also go to drpbetterlife.com. And that is my website where we have all of our previous shows. It talks a lot more in depth about some of these issues, but I have a contact form on there, and you can reach out to me very easily, and I'll direct you into the right place as well. And we can get you started on your personalized medicine program today, because this is where your future is at. So, Ray, thank you.
Closing comments. We tell patients a phrase we used to say years ago, but we're going to reintroduce it. We'll get you to 100. After that, you're on your own.
Right. Love it. So thank you, Ray. It's always wonderful and such an honor to have you on. I appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great.
Take care.